Good morning. It's the 5th of September. It is exactly 5:50 a.m. Maybe thinking it's a bit early, but I do work a night shift. Just finished, just come home. As I said in a couple of the other ones, I want to do a bit of a biography of myself. Don't know how many episodes it will last. Definitely 3. Because today I'm dealing with my childhood and schools. There's going to be some stuff I refer to that I've already referred to before, but these are those sort of things. Got the notes, so I'm all set. Where do I begin? I think it's Mark Twain that did actually say there's 2 days you actually remember: the day you're born and the day that you find out why you were born. Bit heavy to start off with, but the first one, definitely no. The second one, we'll have to have a look at it later on in my conclusions and stuff. So, when was I born? 16th of June, 1965. Town of Worksop. I was born in the Kilton Hospital, obviously on the maternity ward. My mother, whose name was Elsie, and to my father, whose name was David. I've said before both my parents were 45. That's not exactly right, because my dad was born in May, so he was 45. My mother was born in November, so she was still 44. All purposes, 45th year. The both of them have been alive. So, my earliest memories of childhood. I've got 2. One, I'm not actually sure if it's a memory or if I've been told so many times it's imprinted itself as a memory. If that makes sense. Hope it does. So we'll start off with that one. About 4, probably coming up to 5, we had a dog, beautiful dog, named Lassie. A cross, but we think part of her was a first generation cross. Somewhere there was bad. The way she used to sit there with her paws crossed and her head held high, looking at us as though as to say, "You peasants." So we think there was some breeding, some pedigree there. When I was about 4 or 5, she'd be about 1.5. Maybe not, actually, probably a bit younger, probably just reached 4. I used to disappear. Now, the doors were locked, could never get out of the house. Don't panic about stuff like that. I used to disappear. My mum used to find me asleep in the dog's bed. Now, I know someone out there will be going, "Oh, God, the deprivation. Having to sleep in the dog's bed. Oh, what a family." No. The dog's bedding was always kept clean by my mum. There were old blankets that you would wash at least once a fortnight. Just throw a general wash to make sure they were clean. So, that was that. But this dog used to look after me. She used to follow me everywhere. If I was going to get into trouble, she'd pull me back. These are stories I've been told. Anyway, get back to the sleeping in the dog's bed. The only person that could remove me out of that bedding was my mother. Anyway, we had an aunt come and visit. you can already guess what happened. Where's Tony? She goes through there. Oh, he's asleep in the dog's bed. I'll pick him up. My mother screamed at top of her voice, "Don't touch him! Leave him alone!" Too late. According to what I was told, there was a growl, there was a snap, and there was a lady screaming. My mum rushed through. The dog had had her. Blood pouring down her hand. Now, that sounds nasty. When my mum cleaned her hand up, it looked worse than it was. It was just basically a bad scratch. So my mum went through and explained the situation, picked me up, brought me into the house, put me on the settee. Still groggy, what's going off here type of thing. The dog jumped up beside me, curled up behind me. My aunt came in. The dog stared daggers at her. Never liked the aunt after that. No, not me, the dog. The dog never liked the aunt after that. I thought a lot of the aunt, but that's never here and there. So that's the sort of relationship me and the dog had. Every time I went out to shop, she wanted to come. Every time I went for a walk, she wanted to come. She followed me everywhere. This is jumping quite a bit forward, but I think it needs to be said. She eventually died. A 16-year-old dog. She was very old. She didn't actually die. It got to a stage where I had to make the decision to have her put to sleep. She developed bad cancer of the womb area. She was nearly blind. Obviously, at that age, stiffness, she could hardly walk anywhere. And within the last week of her life, she became incontinent, couldn't keep food down. I came down one morning. She looked very badly. I did actually turn around and say, enough is enough. I can't remember if my sister was visiting or if we phoned her. But it was left to me and my sister to take her down to the vets. I had to make the decision. It was left to me, The vet examined her and said, yes, she is a very sick dog. She's not going to live much longer. We know the age of her. She ain't going to live much longer. I had to make the decision. It's one of the hardest decisions I had to make. Up to that point, what made it worse is officially she wasn't my dog, she was my mum's. So in other words, she was the last breathing connection I had to my late mother. So I had to have her put to sleep because I knew enough was enough. I mean, she was in pain. She hadn't eaten for sort of 3-4 days. The way she looked at me is those to say, I just want to go. But fortunately, when you have pets, unfortunately this is what happens. My second memory of when I was young, and it is a memory, was when my older brother moved to South Africa. Rhodesia, moved to Rhodesia, then he moved to South Africa. When he moved to Rhodesia, I've mentioned this before, he left get a better job. Now, what was told to me is, when asked, where's our Roy going? That's his name, Roy. I was told, oh, he's going away, he'll be away for a long time. A 5-year-old, how long is a long time? A day, 2 days. After 3 days, I started pestering my mother. When's our Roy coming back? When's our Roy coming back? You said a long time now, it's been a long time. Eventually, my mum put me down, told me basically, he's moved abroad. Well, he's moved a long, long way away. He will not be back. You may be 10, 15, if that, before he comes back. Again, it upset me. But I got over it. So, those are my 2 earliest memories. So I'm 5-year-old. Just to explain, in England, well, in Britain, our school system is infants, juniors, comprehensive. Well, it used to be, I know it's changed slightly. You went to infants, age 5 to 8. Juniors was 8 to 11. Comprehensive was 11 to 16, unless you stayed on to do A levels, which was 8, then 18. So that's a rough idea. It is. Went to infant school. Started infant school. The 2 main memories from there, and I do still remember her, is Mrs. Swinton. My first teacher. She was brilliant. Must remember a child, 5-year-old, being literally like abandoned. You are going to school. Into this strange woman's care. But she was brilliant. She read us stories. Taught us to... I could read a bit. Mum taught us to read. Could read a bit. But this woman then started teaching us to read stories. When I went to junior school, I wasn't reading small stories. I was reading The Wind in the Willows. Books like that. She was an inspiration to us. My payback to her one day is I was very badly. I asked Miss, need to go to the toilet. Before I got there, I, shall we say, threw up all over her desk. Sorry, Mrs. Swinton. These things happen. The other memory of the infant school, infant school, was the Christmas parties. We had Christmas parties. Each year, on a specific day, had their party. We had games. We had things like buns. Parents did buns, jellies, a few sandwiches, and stuff like that. We had a puppet show. Or a cartoon show. And we had the real Father Christmas come and see us. Presents were a bit crap. A yo-yo, a penny whistle. In winter, a kite. Who thought that one out? Them kaleidoscope things. They were cheap tag, but it was brilliant because we got a present of Father Christmas. So that's my 2 memories of infants. Can't remember much more. I know there was like a school pet, like a rabbit or guinea pigs or something like that. So those are my memories. Use one of these, like I said before. So we moved from infants to junior school. Did quite well at junior school. Really enjoyed junior school. Memories wise, the thing that I remember most was the audiovisual sort of work that we did. At that time, this is before the internet, folks, there was TV programmes made for schools by the BBC. I think some were done by Yorkshire. So there were school programmes. These were shown during the day on normal TV. You could watch them on normal TV. And what this did was some drama series. Some drama series aimed at school kids. One of these things, you see a bit of the story, it finishes, and it leaves it with moral questions. A gang's planning to rob a house. Should Kevin tell his dad? Should Kevin tell the police? Should Kevin keep his gob shut and help him, or should Kevin keep his gob shut and not tell anybody? Should Kevin run away? Blah, 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 blah. And the aim was that when you went back to the class, you discussed this. In other words, you started analysing, you started thinking, you started using your brain. Very good, very interesting. I know we had school athletic days. Usually one of the last days of the term. Do you typically think the kids running around this, the egg on spoon type of thing, with the tongue sticking out, trying not to drop it, sack races, and the parents used to come and watch us. I mean, we were like freak shows. We performed for the parents and the school teachers. And the parents go, oh, isn't Johnny very good? Type of thing. We were like a freak show. So that went on. Came to the 4th year. Yeah, 4th year. Everything was like normal. Until after Christmas. Then we started revising for something called an exam. What's this exam? Never had one before. What's this? The only exams we heard of are when parents were talking about going to the doctors for an exam. Oh, going to doctors having a bit of an exam. We imagined being made to strip off in front of the class for this exam. Then we were told it was a big test. Big test. Oh God, big test. What a big test. Imagination of kids, oh, it could last all day. Well, all day, yeah. What about dinner? No dinner. What happens if you want to go to the toilet? No, going to the toilet. Oh, no, you got to sit there and do all these tests. We eventually found out the truth, through a 20 minutes, 30 minutes tests to gauge your educational level. So when you went up to comprehensive, you were put in the right forms, stuff like that. But then we had a brilliant headmaster, Mr. Edwards. Mr. Edwards, we found out, this is quickly an aside, was the brother of a gentleman called Percy Edwards. Some of the older generation in England will have heard of Percy Edwards. He was an ornithologist, an entertainer, did a lot of animal impersonations and stuff like that. I was absolutely gobsmacked when I heard this. We didn't know at the time. Only found out when I was probably 18, 19, when we found out Mr. Edwards had passed away and looked at his obituary. Very shocked. This headmaster, from spring into summer, started coming into our class to give us talks. How this worked was there was 2 4th years. So all the boys from their class came into our class, all the girls from our class went into their class. The headmaster was in our class, the deputy headmistress was in the girls' class. And we talked. That's it. We talked. There was no lecturing. Anything like that. The headmaster just sat and talked to us. If we wanted a question, we raised his hands. Oh, please sir, what does this mean? But he talked to us. He talked to us about going to comprehensive. He talked to us about growing up. He talked to us about money. Drink, drugs. Touched on sex, but more of in a relationship type of thing. And he talked to us. And that, for a 10-11-year-old, that's pretty confusing. Here's this bloke in his late 50s, well, no, I'm not sure if it was late 50s, but, talking to us. And he didn't talk down to us. He talked to us. He managed to find that gauge which we understood, and he talked to us. How many teachers do that these days? I bet there's not many. So I left there. Went on to comprehensive. What a culture shock. We'd gone from where we stayed in one class with one teacher all day, except for this headmaster coming in on the Friday afternoons to talk to us, to having all these different subjects with different teachers. First thing was to find where we were supposed to go. Of course, you got the older kids, sending us 10-mile round just to go to next door type of thing. Oh, you got to go up here, you got to go round there, you got to go down there, you go down there, you go down there, you go through there, over that ramp there, then you probably end up, you're there, the building's there type of thing. It happens at every school, let's be honest, that. So that, but also the subjects, totally alien to us. Yes, we've done English, we've done maths, we've done a bit of history. But suddenly we were doing chemistry, physics, biology, religious education. Technical work, woodwork, metalwork, technical drawing as we got older. Did quite well at school. At the juniors, got well in decent form. What's that? Went to dunce, wasn't the bright sparks, stuff like that. I was just above halfway. So, reasonably intelligent, not a thicko. Did quite well in the end of year exams. So I did that, and when I was 13, well, no, I wasn't 13 yet, 1978, my mother passed away. This was a total game changer. What happened was, my mother had a heart attack. Don't know if it was minor, medium, don't know. All I know is she had to go into hospital. That seems a bit strange because I wasn't allowed to go and see my mother for quite a few weeks. I think my mother was in for about 5-6 weeks. She came out. She'd been home for about a month, and she basically had a stroke, a minor stroke. Got the doctor out, he examined her, yeah, it's minor stroke, we'll see how she goes tonight. I'll be out first thing in the morning to see how she is. This was November the 4th. November the 5th, early hours of the morning, my father came, knocking on the door, telling me I've got to get up. I need to go down, fetch my sister. My sister only lived down the road. I stayed down there, my sister came home. I'm sat down thinking, what the hell's going off? Still not fully conscious, what's gone off. To be told, when they came back down, that my mother had passed away. I was upset, but for some reason, I went tearful. I went, oh God, that sort of being. Went through the funeral, all the helping out the arrangements, they did include me, but they didn't include me, if you understand what I mean. So the funeral was arranged, went to the funeral, etc, etc. After the funeral, my dad made his decision, come home. And actually, when I got home is when it hit me, to put it plainly. I basically fell apart. Couldn't do it in front of my dad. My dad was the old school, like I've said before. These days, if you lose a parent, you get sent to counselling and stuff like that. My dad's idea of counselling was, "We'll be all right, lad." How could I go into him and saying, I feel like I'm going to die and feels like my heart's been ripped out, and my schoolwork did suffer after that. Partly because I had my father to look after. He couldn't cook. He was the original person that burnt beans on toast. We would have been living on fish and chips from the fish and chip shop if I hadn't cooked. Washing, everything would have been grey or pink. No idea of separating whites from colours or what temperature. Put stuff on. I would have had jumpers 20 sizes too big because they're stretched, or jumpers 20 sizes too small because they're shrunk. Basically no idea at all. Ironing. No. So, the way I put it is I had to grow up pretty quick. I went from being 13 to having to behave and act like a 17, 18-year-old. I had to grow up. Could no longer go out and stand on the street corners with the rest of the gangs from when I say gangs, I don't mean gangs, friends, lads. We used to hang about on the street corner, play radical, hide and seek, kick a ball around. Couldn't do that anymore. I had my father to look after. I had shopping lists to make out. I had to make sure my dad got enough food in for his snap and stuff. So I didn't have a childhood after that. But it did focus my mind. Did get to a stage where I thought to myself, what do I want to do when I grow up? And I came back to thinking to Mr. Edwards, Mr. Swinton, how much of an influence it'd been. I thought, yeah, well, I might be a school teacher. Third year were coming up. I have to take options. Which subjects to specialise in. Yeah. So I looked at them. Made a decision. And frankly, I didn't do too bad in my exams, my O-levels, CSEs. Didn't do brilliant, but I got the marks required so I could stop on and do A-levels. In the fifth year, we had to go and see the careers advisor. So I went to see him. What would you like to tell him about teaching? Stuff. Oh yeah, great. We'll look for information. But in the back of my mind, I also had another wish. I will come more into this on another section, but I'm quite religious, attended church, blah blah blah. Done some lay preaching as a young kid. What right have I to talk to adults? But I think it's all this process of having to grow up. So I thought, as a second option, might want to enter the priesthood. Well, I told him this, and he literally said to me, "You're taking the piss." I went, "No." I says, "I attend church." I says, "Done some bit of lay ministry. I'm a member of the altar staff, and I do believe in all this. But no, you're taking the mick." "No, sir, I'm not." "Don't believe me? Get in touch with my parish priest. I can give you his name." And he won't have anything. I would take a mick. Eventually, it ended up being nothing but a blazing row between me and him, which obviously a school child. And guess what happened? I got sent to the headmaster. Except the headmaster was away for the day, so I had to see the deputy head. The deputy head was one of the gym masters, PE masters, PE teachers, if you like. He had muscles on top of muscles. Now, to everybody out there, you must remember, these are the days that you still got caned. And I had people getting caned by him who couldn't sit down for 2-3 days because of the muscular in it. So I went in, stood there. He asked me what. He says, "Read this report that had been sent down to him." Looked at me. "What's this all about?" So I said, "Sir, I'm not taking the mick. I attend the works of private church. I'm a confirmed Christian. I do this, blah, 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 blah. I'm seriously considering the priesthood." I says, "But the careers master won't have it. He thinks I'm just taking the complete mick." So he looked at me and went, "Serious, aren't you?" I went, "Yes." He says, "Why won't anybody believe me that I am being serious? I am not being a joke. I am not being a smart ass. I am being serious." I went, "Right." He says, "Just wait outside." I thought, oh crikey, here we go. He's going to get the canes out and I'm not going to be able to sit down for a week. Next thing I saw, this careers master walked down past me and he laughed at me and he went into the deputy headmaster's office. The next thing I heard was the almightiest screaming and shouting, angry screaming and shouting. "How dare you!" Can't remember the word. Well, I'm sat outside going, what the... I'm not going back in there. I'm not going back in there. This craze master walks out, no longer smiling. Head down, very subdued, walks away. Gets shouted in. Do I go in? Don't I? Do I run out? Go through that gate, don't bother coming back to the school. I shout again, so I thought, gonna have to go in. Goes in. Shut the door behind you. Shut the door behind me. Says, right, take a seat there. Pardon, sir. Take a seat there. She was like, opposite his desk. So I sat down. He went, right. Started writing names down. I went, what's going on with phone numbers and addresses? He says, I actually attend a church. He says, here's the name of so-and-so, here's the name. He says, they actually do recruiting for the priesthood. Get in touch with them. He says, and I will be asking them if you have got in touch with them. If you haven't got in touch with them, trust me, you will be in deep shit. Because then I know you're not being serious. To say I was shocked would be a big understatement. That was my career's advice. I says, did O-levels, CSEs, got the grades required to do A-levels. Went on to do A-levels. What a total disaster. Just O-levels and CSEs had been a push. A-levels was just that push too far. Couldn't get it. Didn't fail them miserably. Just that bit under the pass rate. So I was advised to take them again by the teacher, saying, listen, go. I sat studying sometimes 10 hours a day. Still couldn't get it. So that left me in a quandary. All these plans I had about my future had just gone down the toilet. Couldn't get the grades for teacher training college, priesthood. Couldn't really. I don't know. It just went down the drain. So that was the end of my academic life, if you like, for the moment. Just want to talk about me enjoyment life when I was younger and stuff like that. We weren't a family that went on holidays. Never been one. I've never been one. I mean, even now, I'm not one for really going away for weeks on end, 2 or 3 times a year. We did have days out. The seaside, the 2 big ones were the local miners' welfare and the local railway club, which my dad was a member of. So we went to the seaside for the day. I think the miners' welfare always went to Cleethorpes. I think the railway always went to, was it Scarborough? I think it was Scarborough. Scarborough or Skeggy. So that was it. But my mum always found us stuff to do. We'd go for walks. Say to some kids these days, well, do you fancy going for a walk? They look at you gone out. What? Walk? No, we went for walks to the local woods. Pack a few sandwiches up, bottle of pop. Take the dog with us. Brilliant. Absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed it. At home, we did, baking together, cooking together. Mum always had puzzles, so we did puzzles together. Jigsaw puzzles, that is. She'd always buy colouring books. I wasn't inactive, mentally or physically. Then of course you had the TV. At that time you had, on school holidays, or biggest part of the day, morning was for kids programmes. Always had a family film. The ones I remember, they always showed at least one of the Johnny Weissmuller Tarzan films a week. Sometimes the full series of Tarzan films. So yeah, I had some fun times on my school holidays. Mum always made Christmas special for us. Never a rich family. I'm not saying, oh, God bless us, we were poor. No. We weren't poor, but we weren't rich. There was always at least a couple of decent presents underneath the tree. Probably not expensive presents. No way would we got something like an iPad or a phone. But we got something decent. Probably a decent truck or a decent pistol, so you could go out and play cops and robbers and that type of thing. I'm going to touch more on this later on. I said as I'm gay. Sexual wise, I did get the impression that gay wasn't normal. A lot of bullshit. I knew at a young age I preferred men. But I felt, while I was at school, especially in comprehensive, I had to hide it. And I hid it quite well. I did date a couple of girls. Sorry. Didn't go very far with them. Probably a peck on the cheek, that's it. No way would I, even at 14, 15, attempted intercourse. Weren't interested. But I'll touch on that later. So that's it. From my earliest memories, about 4-year-old, to me leaving school. Next time, probably a few days' time, I'll do another one talking about my working life. And then we'll take it from there, see how we go down that road. Thanks for listening to this drivel. Hope some of it's been of interest. Bye for now.